A General Motors executive wrote that line in 1929 with an honesty that sounds rude today. The strategy put long-term desire ahead of long-term solutions. Look at the clothes we wear, or the furniture in the room. Does everything seem weak? We could be living in a time when price has taken over beauty. We got a lot more convenient, but the price was high. We traded durability for newness. This logic was written 100 years ago, and we're still living with the consequences. This dissatisfaction was designed on paper, but today we feel it in the objects around us. Pay attention to the little things, like the table's surface, the fabric against your skin, and the weight of an object. The modern world has a strange kind of fragility. Things feel too soft, too smooth, and too shiny. This look screams newness, but also hints at how short-lived it is. Temporary stock fills up spaces, waiting to be thrown away. This loss of human warmth goes beyond just problems with how things work. Think about houses from 70 years ago. Things lasted. A chair made of solid wood was heavy and sturdy, and it lasted a long time. Refrigerators worked for generations, even with older technology. For hundreds of years, well-made clocks kept time. These things had soul. The makers made them for a specific reason. The buyers thought about their money and their lives when they bought them. And the objects showed signs of the lives that were lived around them. We have lost this important point. Natural materials like leather, wood, stone, and cotton get better with age. They get scratches, change color, and become softer, all while keeping a record of history with grace. People no longer accept aging. They want to be new all the time. Take a walk through a typical modern apartment to see how materials break down instead of getting older. Plastic dries out, turns yellow, and breaks. When you take apart a particle board covered in fake nature adhesive film, it breaks apart and swells like a sponge when it gets wet. Furniture comes in flat boxes and is put together with tiny keys. People often leave it on the curb when they move because it costs more to ship than the item is worth. This change in materials made the space look noisy and feel empty. People now live in homes that are like temporary boxes. We put together identities from pre-packaged aesthetics, where each style comes with a list of mass-produced items to buy. We used to only need a few things to live. Now we have thousands of things at home, on our bodies, and at work, along with our digital collection of photos and files. We've never had so much access and felt so empty at the same time. How did being fragile become normal? Why does it cost more to fix a TV than to buy a new one? The answer can be found in an idea that was formed almost 100 years ago, a plan that made failure a normal part of the design. The Phoebus cartel is a good example. The biggest light bulb makers in the world quietly agreed to cut the life of their products in half, from 2,500 hours to 1,000 hours. The process lost its durability. Engineers were given a new job: to figure out when an object would stop working. This idea spread to many fields and became known as planned obsolescence. In this system, things leave the factory with an invisible countdown built into them. That's why the world we live in now feels like it's disposable. It was made to feel this way. Psychological obsolescence is even more dangerous because it plays with desire. A coat that keeps you warm, a car that takes you to work, or a phone that connects you to the world could all work perfectly, but then they could suddenly feel wrong. The style of the collar changes by 3 centimeters. The screen on the new phone curves in a different way. The colors change with the seasons. Fashion used to have a slow cycle, but now it has 52 micro-seasons each year. Fast fashion produces clothes that lose their shape after a few wears. Petroleum-based fabrics, weak stitching, and generic cuts have become common. Cheapness and constant novelty win out. In this logic, new has come to mean better. Mark Fisher, a cultural critic, called this capitalist realism, which means that people feel like there is no other way to produce and consume goods. Buying things has become as natural as breathing. This happened to me with a pair of sneakers I really loved. I wore them all the time, mostly because they were comfortable, and little by little the heel wore down. They still looked good, but walking in them started to hurt. And surprisingly, finding someone to fix them wasn't easy. Everywhere I looked, there were ads for new sneakers, all with deals that felt too good to ignore. So I decided to turn it into a small challenge, almost as a matter of principle. Fix them, don't replace them. In the end, I got my favorite shoes back, and, in the process, I supported a local cobbler. When things are cheap and new, we forget about buying things locally. Global brands that are sterile are taking business away from local vendors and artisans. There's also the money side of this story. When a company chooses the cheapest materials and the easiest way to make something, the effect goes beyond the price tag. Because these decisions, made for efficiency and cost, quietly shape how we see and touch the world around us. Over time, our expectations change. We start to accept softness, shine, and disposability as normal. We forget the weight of a well-made chair, the texture of a durable table, the subtle imperfections that gave character to objects. What once felt meaningful now seems ordinary. And, almost without noticing, our sense of beauty shifts. Cheapness and speed decide what looks good, what feels right, and even what lasts. We begin to measure value not by care, craft, or longevity, but by novelty and availability. To deal with this huge amount of plastic and obsolescence, we need to change our intentions and re-educate our eyes. Restraint often leads to beauty. We need to learn how to see again. A design language based on proportion, function, and material truth goes beyond what is popular at the moment. Material truth means that plastic shouldn't look like wood, and concrete shouldn't look like marble. A thing should be what it is. When things stop trying to trick people, they become more dignified. A simple wooden spoon, carved to fit the hand, can be more beautiful than a cheap, gold-plated metal cutlery, set that peels within a month. Choosing better may be the first step toward a solution. This means that honesty is more important than price. Before you bring something into your sanctuary, Ask yourself tough questions like, how was this made? Who did it? Will this thing get old or break? Will it still be useful in 5 years? This method helps creators, artisans, local woodworkers, and small brands work with real materials instead of following the logic of obsolescence. If you can't afford artisanal goods, the revolution is in how you take care of them. Taking care of things is a form of resistance. A bond is made when you polish a shoe, sew on a button, glue a cup handle, or fix a chair leg. Care gives soul to things that aren't alive. In Japanese folklore, Tsukumogami refers to the idea that tools get a spirit after being used for 100 years. It's clear that we care about what we take care of. The most expensive house full of design icons will feel like a hotel lobby with no life or purpose. On the other hand, a small room with restored secondhand furniture, books, and meaningful art has a richness that new money can't match. We start to tell the difference between cheap and simple. Cheap breaks easily and needs to be looked at. Simple respects mental space by doing its job and then fading into the background so that life can go on. Restoring beauty is both an ethical and an aesthetic endeavor. It takes back the power to make decisions. We change from passive consumers waiting for the next new thing to active curators of our own lives. You need to be brave to do this. The bravery to care for what you already have, even when the world pushes you toward the new. The bravery to leave space in your life for stillness and quiet. The strength to say, I have enough.